Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to be in your homes today. I want to say welcome to the Melting Pot. Okay, the Melting Pot is a Liberian-based um, a platform, and then we use this platform to discuss matters relating to Liberia and to discuss trending issues as they unfold in our country, Liberia. And Liberia are all around the world. We are all around the world, and we want to keep in touch with what's happening back home in Liberia. We want to know what's going on. We want to contribute towards the discourse in the country, be it political, health, social, economic. We want to contribute. And a couple of things happen and trending right now in our country, Liberia, and we are here to have that conversation. If you're joining us, we say thank you for having us in your home. I'm Clarence R. Pearson, coming Dr. P for short. And I'm glad to be on your television screen in your home this morning, and this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are in the world. Globally, it is a pleasure being invited in your home right now. I want to say thank you for having me. And tonight we're going to be discussing three major topics. President Joseph Boakai delivered a speech today at the United Nations. President Boakai delivered a speech at the United Nations. So we'll be going over his presentation, trying to understand what President Boakai had to say today to his counterpart, fellow presidents at the United Nations. If you're just joining us, please share this. So we're going to be going over the president's speech. Speech. We also will be taking some time to go over another trending topic today. Our former Finance Minister um, from the government of President George Weah, who has been indicted by the Joseph Boakai government on corruption charges. And we've been hearing all along that there's an arrest warrant out there for him. Some say he was in the Africans. So a couple of months down the line, I think this is second or third month now, he's just turned himself in. We'll be looking at that developing story. And last but not the least, we'll be looking at the issues surrounding Liberty Party, one of the political party, like Liberty Party chairman, Musa Bility, just resigned from the chairmanship of that political party. So we are hoping to get an understanding as to what's going on in Liberia on these three topics. President Boakai's speech at the United Nations, we'll be listening to that speech on his broadcast. Samuel Tweah, former finance minister, just returned to the country and show up at the criminal court seat today to turn himself over and submit a bond to walk free until the case can be heard. And then we're going to lastly look at Musa's ability resignation. So if you're just joining us live, I want to say welcome and good to be with you today. Please join the live if you can. Please join the live if you can. So on the first note, please share the live if you can. On the first note, we'll be listening to President Boakai's speech today at the United Nations. So President Boakai, the president of the Republic of Liberia, visited the United States to present his speech at the UN. It's a traditional thing. Every year, presidents from across the world go over to the United Nations and present a presidential address and to speak to the world. And so our President Joseph Boakai was out there and he has something to say. So we as Liberians, we want to hear what he had to say out there to the world. So we will be listening to that speech. I think on the overall, the speech was very commending. I should say, I think the speech was very commending. And not just that the speech was very commending, the speech was, I mean, it spoke to some relevant issues. And the last time we were here on this same channel, we're discussing how it was important that going to speak on that level, there are some key things that must be taken into consideration. And I think President Boakai, he really did well in that speech today. And so I will be going over his presentation at the United Nations, and we will be together looking at what our president had to say. If you are just joining us, please share this broadcast. Please share this broadcast. So we'll be looking at the president's speech. That will be the first thing. The second thing we'll be looking at is the former Finance Minister Samuel Tweah turned himself in at the criminal court C today. And then the next thing we're going to be looking at will be Musa Bility resigning from the Liberty Party as chairman of the Liberty Party. So those will be our three talking points. I will be signing off early today, so please, if you're joining us, thank you for joining us. So we'll go into the president's speech. If you can, please share the broadcast. I'm trying to do the same thing too. I'm trying to share. Let me share quickly. And then as soon as I share, we'll be getting into the conversation tonight. Let me share this broadcast quickly. And I want you to please join me. Let's share this broadcast as many times as you can. Let's share this. I'm going to take a second to share this, and I'm encouraging you to do the same. All right, let's share this. Let's share this broadcast. Let's share this broadcast. I'm doing the same thing right now. We will be discussing the issue of President Boakai's speech today at the United Nations. We'll be looking at bringing you up to speed on former Finance Minister Samuel Tweah turning himself over to the criminal court so that they can hear his case. He wanted to submit his bond until his case can be heard. You know, there were some more things that Samuel Tweah would have been arrested and put in jail. Because I know a lot of the rescue missionaries were interested in seeing that happen. People who want to see the country fight corruption was also interested in seeing Samuel Tweah goes to jail for alleged acts of corruption. So as I share this broadcast, please share. And right after I share, we're going to be going to conversation. Right after I share this broadcast, please share, please share, please share, please share. You can share more than one time, please share. If possible, share the group. Share the group. So as we go into our president's speech, you may not have had the opportunity to listen to the speech. I will play the speech out for you today. I'll give you the full text of the president's speech at the United Nations. And not just that, I will look at Samuel Tweah, background on Samuel Tweah, today's presentation of himself to criminal court C. Samuel Tweah presentation of himself to the criminal court C to file a criminal bond in the tune of $8 million so that he can be free on bail until the case can be heard. So please share the live, share the live, share the live. If you're on, please share the live. And look, if you can comment in the comment section. If you're on YouTube, please if you are viewing me on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Or you can find me on YouTube if you just type in YouTube, search browser, type there the melting pot, or type Dr. Clarence RPSing. I will come up on YouTube. And then you subscribe, all right? I'm trying to build our YouTube channel also. So yeah, share the show, share the show, share the show, share the show. Share. I'm sharing. As soon as I'm through sharing, we'll begin our conversation on President Boakai's speech. I'm going to play you the whole speech. I think the speech was around like 10 to 18 minutes, around 10 minutes like that. 18 minutes, we're going to go through the speech, and we're going to have one or two conversations around that speech. And then we're going to talk about Samuel Tweah submitting himself to the criminal court C. Samuel Tweah committing himself to the criminal court C, submitted himself to criminal court C, and then he was able to file a bond. He was released from bond. He didn't go to jail like some people wanted him to have gone to jail. He didn't go to jail. I know citizens are happy that Samuel Tweah did not go to jail. Instead, he was able to file a bond and until he can be presented to court by his lawyers when they are ready to try the case. All right. So yeah, I'm almost done sharing. As soon as I'm done sharing, we'll start the conversation. Please share, please share, please share. You know, Liberia is all we have. Some people say, you know, don't talk on national issue. In fact, you reverend, you minister of the gospel. You know, you pastor, you got church in Liberia, you got schools in Liberia. You all be preaching instead of just talking about politics. But you know, the thing about politics is that whether you like it or not, when something goes wrong in the country, everybody suffers. Not one person is suffering. Everybody suffers when something goes wrong in the country. So we have to add our voice to the conversation so that our people can govern properly, our people can lead properly, so that people who are leading the country can know that the country People are watching them. People got them on us ego eye, you know, and we're looking at them. We're looking at what they are doing. We're looking at what they are saying. And whatever they are doing concerning our country, they need to do it well. Because when the country suffers, everybody suffers. The family member will suffer. The loved ones will suffer. People who are believing and looking forward to see them progress will suffer. And at the end of the day, when one person cry, we all will cry. So please share the life, and let us have a conversation. Today we're discussing the issue of Joseph Boakai's speech to the United Nations. We're going to be looking at Samuel Tweah submitting himself to a criminal proceed, to file a criminal bond in the tune of $8 million, so he can be free for a while. He'll be a free man for a while. He can walk around for a while until the case will be heard. All right. So we will soon be shortly having this conversation. I'm almost done sharing this live. If you're on here, please share the live. Share the live. Share the live. Share the live. All right. So let's go. Then now that we share this live, and I'm glad now that I've shared this live, and now that we share this live successfully, let's go into our conversation. Let's go into our conversation. All right, thank you for having me in your homes. This is we call this the melting pot, and the melting pot, you know, it has this show has the concept that, you know, there are diverse opinions and ideas out there, and people got a lot on their mind. They want to share about their country, Liberia, and they want to they want their voices to be heard. And so we are saying, for that to happen, we all got to join the conversation in our country and be sure that we are able to be a part of the conversation. And no knowledge, no idea is too dumb, no conversation is too dull. You know, and if you're out there and you want to come on this platform, my WhatsApp information is out there, and you can message me, or you can say in the chat there, say, look, Dr. Pearson, I want to be a part of this show. You know, once in a while, I want to be a part of this show. And if you want to be a part of this show, indeed, we will bring you on, and you'll be a part of the show. So our information is out there. 609-284-0546 is the number. If you want to send us a message, a WhatsApp message, don't call. You can send us a WhatsApp message, and we'll respond to you. Say, look, say I want to be on the show. We'll get in contact with you. Whatever your idea is, we'll sell your idea for you. We'll bring you on the show, and you'll be a part of the show. And not just that, but if you want to promote your business, you are a Liberian, you want to promote your business, you have an advertisement, and you want to promote your business, give us a WhatsApp message and let us know. Say, look, I want to promote my business on your show. I want to talk about my business on the show, and we'll do that also. And we're here to promote all things Liberia. So today we're discussing President Boakai's speech at the United Nations. We are going to be very brief on this broadcast because we have other engagement. We're going to be discussing President Boakai's speech, and then from President Boakai's speech, we're going to be moving on to Samuel Tweah presenting himself at the criminal proceed to file a criminal bond, and then from there we're going to look at Musa Bility resignation. So without further delay, let's see if we can move on into President Boakai's speech. Move on into President Boakai's speech.
Madam President of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Ambassadors, Heads of Delegations, and esteemed delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to address the 79th regular session of the United Nations General Assembly for the first time as President on behalf of the government and people of Liberia after a smooth back-to-back democratic transition. Liberia congratulates His Excellency Philemon Yaban on his election as President of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. You can be assured of Liberia's support as she steered the affairs of the General Assembly. I extol His Excellency Dennis Francis for his astute leadership during his presidency of the 78th session of the General Assembly and commend his determination to inspire and rekindle hope globally. I give the thanks Secretary General Antonio Guterres for the remarkable and visionary leadership he continues to provide in pursuit of our collective mandate. Mr. President, Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the summer of 1945, Liberia joined other nations in San Francisco as one of the original signatories to the United Nations Charter. On that fatal day, the world, having suffered the scourge of war, was full of hope and determined to reverse the past. Nearly 80 years on, and reflecting on the preamble of the United Nations Charter, which declares our commitment to promote social progress and better standard of life and larger freedom, we ask the question, has our reaffirmation of faith in the dignity and worth of human person made 8 decades ago, they've been realized? We must admit that the world has changed and the frontiers that we now embrace are different. It had greed, insensitivity to the poor, the international drug epidemic, money laundering, dynamics of climate change, and the impact of social media must compel us to rethink our approach to global peace and security. Our beloved United Nations must undergo the institutional and philosophical reflection required to respond to the new age. As we assemble under this theme, unity in diversity for advancement of peace, sustainable development, and human dignity for everyone, everywhere, it is important to recognize the shared values and collective efforts that come from our unity with diversity. We must acknowledge these as essential for the advancement of peace, sustainable development, and the inherent dignity of every human being worldwide. By doing so, we can build a better world where no one is left behind. Like many nations gathered at this assembly, Liberia recommits to the Sustainable Development Goals. Since the end of the country's conflict, we have strived to follow a development path that will lead to building a capable state. 20 years ago, we dared to dream of a future within the.
So one of the first things that the president did, and I think, look, listen, I think this was an excellent speech. Whoever wrote this speech for President Boakai did an excellent job at what they did. Excellent speech. So he started the speech with acknowledging the challenges that the United Nations as a body face within its efforts to spearhead global issues, right? He acknowledged global challenges like crisis, not primarily crisis in particular, but in general. He acknowledged issue of hunger and difficult times and hardship, that the entire globe is faced with. And he talked about evolving new technology, like with social media being a challenge. We just heard just this gone Wednesday how Sierra Leone had a very major protest happening there, and the Sierra Leone government blamed it on social media. So he's acknowledging that a lot has changed globally and has changed in our world, that the United Nations need to pause and look back and make some adjustments to fit itself within the current reality. And I think that was a good thing, in the speech. Then he moved on now to Liberia. Let's move on to Liberia.
realm of possibility, harboring core national aspiration, transform the future. Name Liberia Rising or Vision 2030. It has been the driving force behind all of our planning efforts. The building of blocks and the tenets of Vision 2030 are significantly aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. Our government's arrest agenda is a comprehensive approach developed to address the economic and social needs of millions of Liberians, especially the youth, who account for 60% of our population. With emphasis on agriculture, roads, infrastructure, development, justice, and the rule of law, education, sanitation, health, and tourism, the agenda has mainstreamed the SDGs as is designed to take Liberia to the finish line of the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals.
So I think he did an excellent job, Ray, again, with his introduction to his topic on Liberia. He starts off by emphasizing that Liberia has a base foundation for all of this development agenda. And this is one of the things that we all have been advocating for on social media, within our different media spaces. We've been advocating for the acknowledgement in our country that, listen, everybody can just come with their own, their own policy or plans or strategy for the country and throw away what somebody else has. So, Madam Ellen time, I was at this conference in Banga when we developed this Vision 2030. At the time, I was representing the University of Liberia Kofi Annan Institute for Conflict Transformation. So I was representing our body at that conference. So one of the things that he did that I think was very good. Please share the show if you're on, if you're viewing, and welcome to the melting pot. And so what President Boakai did that I think was very commendable is the fact that he started off by saying that his vision rests on the national vision, the bigger vision of Liberia that had to do with the Vision 2030, which at the time we call Liberia Rising under Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, which is awesome. And then he stands on that and he says his own vision, the arrest agenda, comes out of that and mirrors it to an extent to present a more narrowed down vision that he has for his government. He called the arrest agenda, which is agriculture, roads, the rule of law, education, sanitation, and in sanitation comes health, and then you get tourism. So he did an excellent job. And he even went further, which of course I admire again. He went further by saying that in addition to his arrest agenda is looking towards the Sustainable Development Goals. And these are our conversation. On all of the major platforms we sat on, these are the things where, and I mean, he nailed it pretty well. And the guys who wrote that speech, whoever wrote that speech, the team that wrote that speech, did a good job. I think they are listening to the critical voices, of Liberians in and outside of the country. I think they are listening. I think it's a good thing, and I think they should continue on that path. It is important for them to listen to what Liberians have to say in the country and out of the country, and by doing that, it enrich what they themselves will be doing. I think that's a good thing, and I think the president scored good mark in that pitch he just did.
The fight against poverty, the promotion of human dignity, the steadfast commitment. Despite our progress, poverty remains a significant challenge. Over half of our population living below the poverty line. The Sustainable Development Goals aim to eradicate poverty in all forms by 2030, ensure social protection for the poor and vulnerable, improve the access to essential services. Liberia is dedicated to assessing the levels and the causes of poverty and implementing strategies to reduce it and promote shared prosperity. My government also acknowledges pressing need to address maternal and newborn mortality.
So another good thing he did there again was that when he talked about poverty, in poverty. Another good thing that he did, and we also have queried the government about that too in Liberia. We're just last night we're having the same conversation on another talk show that I usually visit called FOL, Focus on Liberia. And on Focus on Liberia, some of the things we said, and even on this platform was, government must approach the problem of the country with statistics, with data. It should be a data-driven development strategy to solve our problems. We cannot solve our problems by just throwing money at it. We have to understand first what the problem really is, what's causing the deep problem. And he said, and I want to remind them that they are doing studies to find the root causes of the problem of poverty in the country. And I know we know a lot of things are causing poverty in our country. Corruption is one of the major ones, and we even face with major corruption, bad governance, no respect for the rule of law, and these things are happening in Liberia. We know, but we still want to have data, especially the data coming from in the country, not data that UN say or IMF say or World Bank say or United States government say. No, what are we doing through ledges? What are we doing through our universities? And are we conducting our own research for our social development needs and trying to find out what our problems are? And then our government can use those different university research, ledges research. I'm talking about the DHS, the demographic health survey that we do once in a while when election coming about, just for the news. But our universities should be encouraged. Our different universities should be encouraged to conduct research. Ledges should conduct major research outside of the DHS. And find out what some of the like drug issue in Liberia. Our social department, what they call sociology department in our universities should conduct research on drugs in Liberia, especially the communities that are most affected, and publish those reports. And improve our educational system. It helps to strengthen our education. It makes our children even smarter and brighter in how they go about education, expose them, and add credibility to our education, build value to our education. And ledges and other strong institutions like Liberia, I graduated from one of our institutions called LIPA. And LIPA, Liberia Professional Institute, but they are there too. They used to be on my point, but I heard they're not there again. But conduct studies, and he says to look into that kind of thing, and that's what we want to see. That's good. He hit that. The only thing I didn't hear was how they intend to address it. But I guess the time is not enough. But I love
implementing robust monitoring and evaluation of health services in the country.
So again, you hear him saying we want to deal with health issues, and then we're going to evaluate why it's impacting the health services. That's another good point. That's what we've been talking all along. Liberia, look, we need to start writing. Some of us have started writing already. I think I have written 5 books already. So we need to start writing. Liberia needs to start writing, and let us empower our young people to do different, community surveys and studies. We got NGOs in Liberia, small. William Gonoti, thanks for coming on. I want to my strong community-based network and a service provider there from the NGO perspective. Thank you for coming on, William. Please share the show. So let us empower our local NGOs, our universities, and ledges and LIPA. Look, conduct surveys, conduct research on the social vices in our country that will inform how our government function, inform policy decision making, inform how policies are driven by those different research that we do. And I like that line the president gave. That's awesome. Thank you, Mr. President. Let's continue.
To accelerate the reduction of maternal and newborn mortality. We are particularly blessed and pleased with the United Nations AC Joint Mission to Liberia this year, which concluded a commitment to combat the high burden of increasing newborn deaths. We welcome the United Nations General Assembly's decision to declare July 25th as the International Day of Women and Girls of African Descent this year. This significant milestone acknowledges that women and girls of African descent have unique opportunities, but they also have challenges that the global fight against slavery and racism is necessary to achieve gender equality. Liberia credits its credentials by producing the first woman president of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA Brooks Randall, and first female president of Africa, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Liberia has witnessed and continues to witness.
I think there was another good point the president struck there again. Look, whoever wrote this speech for President Boakai did extremely well. And I want to commend them. It is not often you hear me tell President Boakai, thank you for doing something, or his government. But I mean, this speech, whoever wrote this speech did a very good job. Now, again, this is some of the things we went talking again. Liberia has a historic, a repetition for being one of the most viable countries out there in the early days. Even the formation of the United Nations, Liberia was a part of it. The forming of the ECOWAS, Liberia was part of it. The forming of AU, Liberia was part of it. To help other African countries get their independence, Liberia was a big part of it. And for so many years, we stopped tapping on that repetition. And that's one of the things that would give Liberia a very positive image out there. Now, of course, when we're talking about wanting to be one of the non-permanent members on the United Nations Security Council, of course, then it tells you that you got to know how to pin those lines, how to thread those lines. And again, I want to thank the guys who wrote that speech. I know they are listening. They listen. It was just yesterday or the before yesterday. I was saying this from another speech I saw he did in the UN, and I was making these points. We got to stand on our strength. And it's on our strength that we project ourselves, and then we take our rightful place in the international community. And President Boakai, I thank you for reading that, even for allowing it to be put in the speech, because sometimes you want to post something in the speech. Some people say, no, I want to read that. But for acknowledging that Liberia had Angie Brooks Randall, who served as one of the presidents of the United Nations, and Secretary General of the United Nations, wherever the case might be. They talk about Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who sat as the first female president in Africa. Those are good credentials that you lay out there. And I want to say whoever wrote the speech did extremely well. Thank you for that.
The immense contribution of women and girls of African descent in politics, culture, and every area of societal development. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Liberia has enjoyed uninterrupted peace for almost 2 decades, following the 14 years of civil conflict. During this time, we have held 4 democratic elections, with last year's election marking the 4th since the return to democratic order in 2006. In January this year, Liberia achieved a historic milestone by peacefully transitioning from one democratic government to the other. This progress is significant because before the 2018 transition, the last democratic transition occurred in 1944, about 74 years earlier. We are gradually fostering and solidifying our democratic culture, ensuring that democracy is here to stay in Liberia. Now it is time for our people to reap the democratic dividends.
All right, I want to stop there for a second. So the guys who wrote the speech, there was a little oversight there. Whenever people are talking about our Liberian Civil War, they say 14 years, and then they will go from 1989 to 2003. So if you go 1989 to 2003, it will be 21 years now that when the president is giving his speech. So you cannot say almost 2 decades. No, it's more than 2 decades. It's more than 20 years. It's 21 years now, if you want to be critical. So those are minute, small mistakes sometimes we have happening in these speech writing. Sometimes the president decided they feel they already know the information, so they just overlook it. And when you're writing this speech, don't, especially major speeches like this, don't overlook anything. And, don't assume you know everything and you overlook anything. Be precise, because that was a little oversight there. And I think another thing here is that when President Boakai referenced our democratic credential, Edwin, welcome to the show. All right, Edwin, welcome to the show. Joanne, welcome to the show. So when President Boakai referenced our democratic credential, that's another good thing there. Whoever wrote that part again, they did extremely well. Those guys did well with their speech. But normally, this is the problem. President Boakai, that's the reason why it is essential, that it is very essential, it is important that our current presidents that are alive today, be it Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, be a former president, vice president Joel Howard Taylor, be a former president Joseph George Manuel Weah. It is important that you guys maintain a cordial relationship, because in as much as the credential that we're trying to portray out there, we have peaceful transfer of power, then it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that, not just a peaceful transfer of power, but the cordiality between our former president. We have a history of killing our presidents, our past presidents, and it is just now that we are fortunate to have our former presidents and vice presidents that are alive, former presidents and vice presidents that are alive. So maintain a cordial relationship, and that is an added, a boost for our democratic credential. Now, you making a boast of our democratic turnover of power, right? But then at the same time, people can go back and see some rough patches between your relationship and that of President George Manuel Weah. Unnecessary noise in the country about who using VIP terminal, who can use VIP terminal. Those things are trivial. Those things are minute. In fact, what is VIP terminal for that matter? So, yeah, I can understand if you have a presidential suite, which is part of the corridor of the VIP that we call the presidential wing, and then you say, the VIP, the presidential week, presidential suite, it'll be secluded, it will be isolated for only president. But then that corridor, just to pass through that area, to come through the presidential lodge that we got there, just to pass through all our former presidents and vice presidents, and sometimes our most significant dignitaries should pass through there. If that's going to be something for political confusion, get rid of it. It's not a major deal. Let people use that and pass through there. Get rid of that kind of political noise. Get rid of the political noise about having police people going to raid drug, supposedly raid drug behind CDC compound, then through the whole big CDC evasion of the entire party headquarters. We see a war scene of tear gas, being shooting into the CDC compound, like they remind us about the war. Those things undermine your government and your democratic credentials, So yeah, we want to see, this is good, but we want to see more.
The rule of law is fundamental for peace, justice, strong institution, and dignity for a human person. Liberia is taking significant strides towards openness, transparency, accountability by empowering and supporting transparent institutions. Our government is committed to implementing audit recommendations by the General Audit Commission to restore public and donors' confidence in the governance system and improve regional and international cooperation. In addition,
let's talk here again a little bit. So he mentions the rule of law. Again, it goes back to what we always say on the radio. Listen, Mr. President, and those who wrote the speech, these are necessary talking points that goes to the speech, and that is good. But now then the reality is not matching the rhetoric. The reality is not matching the rhetoric. So you cannot say you are observing the rule of law, you are building integrated institution and you respect integrated institution, and then at the same time, you yourself, President Boakai, you're not obeying the rule of law. Let me give you some instances. So you come to power, at the time you were vice president, when you were vice president under Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, for us to be in good relationship with the international community, they gave us some some clues. They say, listen, for us to trust you and take to you and do good business for you, we need some integrated institution. That's how GSC got strengthened, LSCC got strengthened. We have something called the GMAP and other kind of things to give us some credibility. But with those institutions in place, PPCC, PMC law, a good governance commission, investment commission, all of these, and we also have, and I think they are still there, Human Rights Commission. All of these institutions are put into place. The Land Commission, all of these commissions later on developed. And then these institutions were given tenure so that there will not be political hand twisting of these guys when they do the job. Now, we are not saying it is 100% favorable to the president because he wants to put somebody there who he like for political reasons, want to give his own people a job, so there will not be discomfort. Yeah, there will be discomfort, but those institutions are relevant for good governance and for adhering to the rule of law. Now you keep there and start arm twisting people in these institutions who have tenure, to the effect that you have to even go to court, to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court had to slam you in the face and tell you, no, when these people got tenure, you got to respect their tenure. Now you go further, you say you respect the tenure position, but then you respect the Supreme Court position, but at the same time, you go and still do the same thing and put your people that the Supreme Court say don't put to LTA, you put them back there, Patrick Hunter and others, and you put them back there against the Supreme Court mandate. You cannot even appoint them there proper, even though other people resign in that position, other people, but you embarrass with that whole function of the tenure saga. And then you're still not correcting that. It's hanging. And that is against your credential. You try to push it as a good deal that you defend the rule of law, but you undermine the rule of law. Another way you undermine the rule of law, Mr. President, is with the yellow machine issue. So you go to bring millions of dollars worth of procurement to the country, and you overlook the PPCC law, the PMC law, you overlook the legislature who's supposed to sign off on those things. And then people try to talk about it, your supporters and those who say they love you, but advising, oh, the president get the right to do anything he want to do. That why he's the president. In fact, even if he violate the law, let him violate the law. Once we benefit from it, no problem. And you sat down there, people misled you to go write the national legislature a letter and saying, in fact, I did a thing under gentleman agreement with an old-time friend, and the old-time friend and myself got gentleman agreement. The man interested in the arrest agenda. It was not presidential. So now you come into the world stage, you got to present these things as they are. But then when you go back to look behind you now, there are lapses. So I know going forward we can correct these things. I hope from Dr. Raptel's State of the Nation address, not State of the Nation, but not inaugural, but how you call it, Independence Day address. And she said some things, and I see you pick up on some of the things she said, re-emphasizing some of the things we ourselves have said, and you did some corrections. So I think, reflect and look at this speech and see how much more value this speech would have had if you had really stuck to the rule of law. Another thing you violated, Mr. President, the code of conduct required that when you become president or you appointed to government, you should declare your asset before you take office. You have from November all the way to January before January 22nd, before you gave that inaugural address. Why you didn't declare your asset? Going into 5 months into your tenure as president, while the LSC said, only 26% of the officials in government had declared the asset. Just before you did a speech, the LSCC again came up and said, I think less than 50% or little over 50% of the officials have declared asset, and you have not taken any action. An asset declaration is important to the fight of corruption, Mr. President. So it would have elevated your speech in as brilliant as it is written. It would have elevated your speech if what you are saying on there, on that podium, was going to be backed by your actions back home in the country. Let's hear the speech further.
The country has taken a major step in confronting its conflict past to ensure accountability and justice for crimes and other human rights violations committed during the war, and promote healing and national reconciliation. A significant development in our transitional justice process was the signing on May 2, 2024 of the Executive Order 131 to create the Office of Establishment of War and Economic Crime Court for Liberia, a key recommendation on the truth and reconciliation process in Liberia.
Now, let me commend the president again. So the last time President Weah went to give his UNGA speech, I was one of those who, in advance, I told him, I said, "Look, President Weah, your trump card, every time you're going to address the United Nations, I said, your trump card to getting the blessings of the United Nations, one of the cards that will open doors to you in the international community is to address the issue of war and economic crimes in Liberia. That is the establishment of the War Crimes Court, establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court is an important door opener for you. Again, we are people then, they condemn us, they curse us. It's how a lot of people say, in fact, even my own man, what he said, Akara's Gray came and said, "Oh, why Ellie never did it? The country, blah, blah." And we're saying, listen, that is a trump card. And now President Boakai played the trump card. Bravo, President Boakai. Bravo. Thank you for playing that trump card. But by putting that card forward, you've elevated the conversation about the War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia. You clear all doubts from the minds of doubters that the War and Economic Crimes Court is not going anywhere. I think even former Auditor General John Modu had his own doubts, but I think by elevating the conversation at this level, we even clear his doubt. And there are others who had the doubt too that this may not go through, but I've never had that because I know the buttons were pressing in the background. All right, and even with the presence of the high-level United States delegation to Liberia right now from the Justice Department, also showed that this is not going to go away. So yes, by coming forward and saying it at this level and asking for support is a good thing in the right direction. Bravo again to the guys who wrote this speech, and bravo to the president.
Our actions align with the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, joint follow-up on impunity, and past human rights violations. As we embark on the process and acknowledge the enormity of the task, my government seeks the support of the United Nations, partners, stakeholders in the pursuit of justice for victims, peace, and reconciliation. Liberia is facing a drug crisis that is affecting our youth and jeopardizing the country's future. This epidemic, driven by international criminal enterprises and their networks, poses a severe threat. In response, we have not only declared the drug epidemic a health emergency and a national security threat, but we have also been taking steps to address this issue by establishing a dedicated national body to tackle drug abuse in Liberia. I urge international community to join Liberia in addressing this escalating drug crisis.
Again, now elevating the drug crisis in Liberia was a good thing, right? But again, Mr. President and those who wrote the speech, it goes back to what we always tell you guys. Listen, when you see us come on this platform and other platforms and we are talking to our government, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. The reason why we are calling on the government to do the right thing is because these are the situations now where when you don't do the right thing, then it catches up with you. Now, listen to the president. You're saying drug is an issue in Liberia. You declare drug a national emergency. You declare it a security threat to the country. And then you say you're taking actions to curb the drug issue in Liberia. But at the same time, you have suspended the three most senior heads of the LDA, the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency in Liberia, not only have you suspended the three of them, you issue an investigation into the confusion that they had that led to the suspension. It has been over 3 months, going to 4 months. I think going to 4 months, going to 4 months now. You have not taken any decisive action on the recommendation from the investigation that were held on the drug issue. You have not even replaced the leadership at the DEA. You still have acting leader at the DEA. One person acting at the DEA. Whereas you have the director proper and his two principal deputies under suspension. The report has been made and submitted to you from the Joint Security Investigation, and the decision is left to you to take a decisive decision. One of the primary quality of good leadership is effective decision making, decisive decision making. Why have you not made a decision on the drug issue in Liberia? So it undermines the elevation you want to bring to the argument on drug in Liberia at the United Nations. Because why? The people looking and saying, well, wait a minute, Mr. President, you're telling us that drug is an issue in your country, your young people die. You just said 60%, over 60% of your country, young people, and are young people, and they're dying from drugs. They are Zogos, they call them Zogos and Zogis. And you consider drug a national emergency. And it seems that you consider it a security threat to your country. But yet instead, the three primary positions in the LDA that the leaders that got suspended, up to now they are not being replaced, crippling the function of the LDA. The three major most senior positions has been vacated, and you have not replaced anyone there yet, going to 4 months. How is it an emergency? How is it an emergency, Mr. President? You need to think about that. So that undermines your argument you're making right there. But again, we can correct from this going forward. And now going forward, you guys will see when we're making these arguments on this platform, we're leaving our job, we're leaving our business schedule, we come and sit on the platform. It's because we want time like this. When our country is being represented outside there, those little mistakes we make in the past will not be there to make us look embarrassed or undermine our speech that we're seeing now. Let's finish this speech.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the world is facing numerous crises, including global threats such as disease, security, and climate change, as well as food and resource shortages. Our vulnerabilities are evident, and we need to use a collective knowledge to find solutions that would preserve the planet for future generations. Climate change is undeniably real, and this threat to our environment and the way of life is becoming increasingly apparent. We must take urgent action to address this threat, including cooperative effort to implement Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement. Liberia, as the most forested country in West Africa, with over half of the land covered by forest, plays a vital role in biodiversity and environmental sustainability. As a result, our country is taking important steps to lead conversation on climate action. My government has called on our legislature and stakeholders to begin looking at the Paris Agreement, particularly under Article 6, to help advance actions towards establishing Liberia's nationally determined contribution to combat climate change. While we take these actions, we are mindful of the need to build capacity and invest in critical areas of our economy, such as using alternative financing for investment in the blue and green economy and technological transfer to support these climate actions. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the goals we set for ourselves in the future are better served on the foundation of peace and security. Having enjoyed peace for over 2 decades following a long-running conflict, we aim to promote peace and stability at home, in the region, and globally. The threat of conflict to our shared world underscores the importance of collaborative effort to foster regional and global stability and peace. Therefore, we support all the UN efforts to address peace and security issues worldwide. Liberia is concerned about escalating security challenges in the West African region, including terrorism and economic and political instability. These pose significant threat to regional peace. So we urge full dialogue and cooperation among West African nations to address these issues effectively. Meanwhile, Liberia firmly stands with the rest of West Africa in the resolve to maintain our 50-year-old regional economic commission, ECOWAS, intact. We oppose efforts to disintegrate our union and will not accept the region being used for proxy conflicts. We look at the AU and the UN to support us in keeping the regional body united. Similarly, at the global level, we call for an immediate ceasefire in the Middle East to provide civilians an essential humanitarian relief. We urge both Israel and the Palestinians to engage in negotiations towards lasting peace, including a two-state solution. Additionally, we see the ongoing conflict in the Ukraine as a threat to global peace and security. Therefore, there is an urgent need for a peaceful resolution that also respects Ukraine's territorial integrity. Mr. President, Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this year's assembly is a pivotal moment for Liberia Day to ascend to the African non-permanent seat of the United Nations Security Council 2026. We have proudly announced our candidacy. We look forward to support the member states to vote Liberia overwhelmingly to the seat of the Security Council. We can work with council members to promote peace, justice, and security. Liberia is dedicated to promoting sustainable growth and ensuring human dignity for all. Liberia is prepared to work together with the United Nations, global allies, and international community to accomplish the sustainable development goals, establish a fair, peaceful, and sustainable world. The commitment to unity is deeply ingrained in Liberia's history as a founding member of the United Nations and a post-war international institution, as well as regional and sub-regional organizations. It also affirms our strong belief in multilateralism and international rules and based world built on shared values and principles are crucial to the future. The future of a more peaceful, prosperous, sustainable world must be all-encompassing, fair, and dignified for everyone worldwide. One United Nations, one world. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow. I think it was an excellent speech. And again, we're having this conversation just day before yesterday, and I was saying the same. I said, listen, Liberia is uniquely placed as a strategic nation with immense value in its history. So all the president had to do in speech like this is to project Liberia as a leader in some of these areas. And Liberia did play that role. President Boakai, I think you did well. Tonight, I'm commending you for that speech. And the last part of the speech, he laid a strong policy decision, foreign policy decision. I mean, our foreign policy was laid out very clear. On the issue about climate change, he committed that Liberia is committed to the fight against climate, and in the fight against the climate. And then another thing he said that impressed me was that whoever wrote that speech cited even down to the different regulations that are relating to climate change and the United Nations and protocols, and how that refer to what he was saying. I mean, I think that was also brilliant. Another thing that was brilliant, I thought was very brilliant again, is that he made clear our policy decision on West Africa, with the training issue in West Africa, with the breakaway, like Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, them breaking away from the union. And he said, listen, we're not going to stand up for division of ECOWAS or Africa as a whole, and we stand with Africa again. He brought in another thing I talked about, the divide between Africa leaving from the West and turning towards the BRICS. And the BRICS had to do with Brazil, Russia, China, India, and South Africa, BRICS Plus, and other countries joining them now. Some Arab countries joining them now. So he said, look, we unwaveringly support, our connection to the West. All right. In other words, we're not leaving our traditional partner. I think that was also a very brilliant piece of that speech. And then on the Gaza issue, he was clear again about what Liberia stands for when it comes to peace, having gone through war ourselves and know what it means to go through war. He was very clear with that, where Liberia stands and on in regards to the people of Gaza, and how Liberia stands for two-state solution rather than one group overshadowing another. Now, that is important. Let me tell you something for our foreign policy. That is important because Liberia played a major role in South Africa during the apartheid regime. And Liberia played an important role in freeing South Africa. South Africa also has gone so far as taking Asia to the International Criminal Court, for genocidal act being committed in Gaza. So that aligned Liberia to what its traditional position would be for peace, for global peace, global stability, unity. That's Liberia. That's who we are. And, for freedom of everyone, regardless who the people are, not because you feel you got special people and so you can go and kill other people. Look, he's like, listen, there has to be a peaceful settlement of the crisis, and there has to be a two-state where both countries have the democratic rights respected, and they all have the right to self-determination and human dignity. I think that was excellent. On Ukraine, again, he said it. Look, Ukraine has the right, as a people to run their own lives, and they cannot be dominated by another country. And then, that was foreign policy was clear. It has been a long time since I ever heard a well-balanced speech like this, and I want to give President Boakai, thumbs up, great job, awesome speech, and good. Kudos to you guys. You guys did excellent, and for the first time I know some person say, "Wow." Wow, I can't believe our man praising President Boakai tonight. Yeah, that was an excellent speech. Yeah, that was an excellent speech. And that takes us to our next topic. I gotta be running out of here pretty soon. Take us to our next topic. And our next topic had to do with our man Samuel Tweah. Our man Samuel Tweah, the money man Samuel Tweah. So we all know that Sam Tweah, he was a finance minister during the George Weah administration. But let me give you a quick background. Let me take my glass and give you a quick background. So sometime back, I think it was in July or so, the Joseph Boakai government, acting on other reports, they said that they were indicting meaning they were slamming court charges for corruption on several of the top government officials of George Weah. And those officials include former Finance Minister Samuel Tweah, who is on the screen there, included the National Security Advisor Jefferson Kamor, included the former Solicitor General Councillor Yanati Tuan, and then they included ex-controller of the Financial Intelligence Unit, now we call it the FIA, D. Moses P. Cooper. And then they also indicted the former Director General of the Financial Intelligence Agencies, the FIA, Stanley Ford. I will call the names again. So they indicted, I think, 5 people. Samuel Tweah was one of them. And Samuel Tweah was one of them. who was the former finance minister, national security advisor Jefferson Kamor was indicted. Former solicitor general Councillor Yanati Tuan was indicted. Comptroller of the Financial Intelligence Unit, the FIA, D. Moses P. Cooper was also indicted. The intelligence, former director general of the FIA also, Stanley Ford, also indicted. All indicted. All the guys are indicted. In fact, we had this big situation in Liberia where some of the guys were even put in handcuffs, carried to the Supreme Court, to the criminal court C rather, and then they were left straight to jail from there. Nobody could even file a bond that night. They went to jail. But in the meantime, if you recall, Councillor Tuan, Kamo, and Cooper, those two guys, God. Yeah, they were in prison. Those guys went to jail. Some people were saying, oh, if Samuel Tweah would have been in the country at that time, he would have gone to jail. They would have taken him to jail too. And why we agreed and wanted the rescue missionary they wanted that, to celebrate. Oh, they carry Samuel Tweah to jail. Well, a really interesting country. But when it comes to fighting corruption, though, again, we can't take it lightly because that's the bottom line of the country. That is the thing that eating the very fabric of the country, destroying Liberia, corruption. Even in the Boakai administration, the Crispy was not even in government. The man wrote a letter quick to NASCO for the poor pension money. Say, give me 100,000 for one car times 5. I want 5 cars, 500,000. The man swag that one. Wow. Pension money. Grab that one. Then, meantime, while they having inauguration, the party chairman Luther Tappet, he collected $300,000. He's about to go do what in the county, wherever for county for the inauguration. Your man cut some of that money, cut it. He's wacky. It was a shameful thing again for us in Liberia. Not lead that one. While we're talking about other corruption money, then Joseph Boakai, own nephew, Anoka, Jacob Akodi, they started investigating for $700,000. $700,000 for squandering $700,000. Even though he maneuvered away, Liberian message, he mango away out of that, it died down. And then we went to the 22 million for yellow dubious yellow machine. And bypass all the PPCC law, bypass the PMF law, bypass the legislature, go do 22 million road again Kimi, $22 million road project Kimi, to face dirty road, mother road, or to go greater money. We all argue, say, how you go greater mother road in Liberia just before the rain coming to start falling, and you forget, by the time you turn the mud over, anybody pass car there, truck there, forget it, that problem. So why you just keep that money in the meantime, and then those spot in between that can spoil, the mean area that can spoil, then they just go there and greater during the rainy season when they spot, they go there greater instead of spending, they say, oh, gettings, own man to in public ways. So when they spend $8 million, but we give it a pull up, legislative approval. We didn't even do proper vetting. PBCC even did a work good. Oh my God! Then corruption keep on. I will not call it name for the hold me contempt in the Senate. So let's forgive the man. The man did it. We forgive him. Go and see no more. People money for nothing. So corruption is a problem for Liberia. So we agree we should fight corruption, but we can't pick and choose when we're fighting corruption. We need to fight corruption on the overall. Fight corruption on the overall. And central bank dishing money over the counter, blah blah blah. The central bank going in and incorrect. They stole money. Let go fix it. Then you go and fix it, and then President Boakai going to fix central bank. He go collect a man who used to borrow money from RB Bank. He collect the man, he carry the man to go make the man central bank governor. Somebody used to borrow money from. And then they bank the man, even what LBDA, the bank LBDA, they made the bank not even running, the bank in trouble. Why you do that kind of thing? Then another bank governor, you go carry that, go face problem again. You go carry somebody who credited from the central bank and owing the central bank, he paid the money, $90,000 out of the man credit from that bank. He owing the bank. Then you go and make the man commissioner over, you go make the man governor at the central bank. Can you imagine that? How you say you're fighting corruption, you playing henge penke with corruption? Playing henge penke with corruption. And so don't play with corruption. Like what we're saying. So Samuel Tweah fall in the whole thing. The bracket with Samuel Tweah. By the time they were arresting the guys, and Samuel Tweah in Ivory Coast. Samuel Tweah in Ivory Coast when they were correcting the guys. So now Samuel Tweah is back in the country. And what he decided to do is to submit himself. George Deming, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Please share the show if you can. So the Samuel Tweah now enters the country, and today, everybody thinks that Samuel Tweah will never come in the country. In fact, we heard that Joint Security, Interpol have put up a red alert for Samuel Tweah arrest anywhere he is, and the police director came and said, "Oh no, that's false. They didn't do that." Because if they had done that, Samuel Tweah would not even be traveling. If he's traveling, they're going to arrest him at the airport. Interpol arrest him at the airport. So they didn't do that. That was just a lie. But people were hyperactive that they wanted to arrest this guy. And so Samuel Tweah, it was believed that he was in Ivory Coast. If you can see under there, if you can screenshot it, you see under, you see he was in Ivory Coast at the time. But the point of the matter is that Samuel Tweah, came back to the country today. And from what I heard, Samuel Tweah has said that for him to come back, he must be given guarantee that his rights will be respected. He has written something like that before on his social media page. He said, "Listen, I'm not saying I'm not going to come. I'm going to come to the country, but when I come, my rights should be respected." And I guess they accorded him that. Nobody go there and do any political thing with the whole thing, and they gave him his rights. Let's see what happens.